Good news, everybody. We have some brilliant news just popped in. So our favourite and best, all-round best for everyday use sports and activity tracking smartwatch, the Garmin Fenix 8, has just been updated, which is mega. But don't get overexcited. It's not a new piece of hardware. They haven't suddenly released the version 2 or the Pro, although that would be quite cool if they had. Fenix 8.2 or Fenix 8 Pro, that would be ace. No, it's not a new hardware update, unfortunately, but it is new software, and there's some pretty good things in it, which does in fact move us more towards it being Pro, because it brings in some things from the Forerunner series, the new Forerunner series models, watches it in fact. So I'm going to download the software. It's a public beta version, so you can do the same. However, downloader, buyer, beware, because it is a beta version. There might be some bugs. Let me mess it up first so you don't have to. So I'm going to get that downloaded, and then I'm going to experiment with it, play around with it, see how it goes, and report back in just a second. So stand by. Here's some minor frustrations for the Garmin. Currently trying to update software and things, and we're sitting with a queue, and it just says syncing. There's no percentage. There's no percentage or anything like that. I've got no clue how much is left to do on it. Very frustrating, and even the screen on the watch just shows a battery charge percentage. There's nothing perfect, is there? There's always some little detail, but it's okay, we can get past this. This has taken so long that the temperature's warmed up, I've had to lose my jumper. I've relocated to the kitchen because I'm trying to make my lunch, and we've had some new exciting products arrive ready for testing, but we are still updating the watch. I hope this is the only hiccup that I'm going to encounter with this. Alright, there absolutely is a lesson to be learnt from this whole process. I have now cooked and eaten my lunch, and the watch is still plugged in to Garmin Connect. Excuse me, lunch. We are currently downloading updates, and there is a time of 3 hours, 4 hours. Why is it going up? Probably because I'm a bit far away from the router. Anyway, there's updates to do. All I want to do is just get this new beta software in there so I can experiment with it, and we can go through it together. I'll check back in when we're done. All right, we're a few days in now. Software's downloaded. I've been trying this thing out, so let's jump in and talk you through some of the features that are jumping out to me. Definitely some things that I'm going to be using. So I've got my notes up on the screen here, so we're going to jump straight into this. I'll overlay some clips and bits and pieces as well, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about as we go. Now, as a Fenix 8 owner, like myself, you maybe had no real interest in looking at the Venue X1 or the Forerunner 970 watches to begin with, because we already owned the best Garmin that they make. However, if we've been paying close attention to some of the updates that those watches have, then maybe we could have been swayed a little bit, because both of those two watches arrived with some new features that we didn't have that are actually quite good, and now we do. Things like running economy measurements and smart alarms. That smart alarm's pretty good. Okay, there are 28 features in total, plus some bug fixes and bits and pieces. I am not going to run through all of them, that would just be boring. If you want to know what that full list is, I'll link to the Garmin release notes down below so you can read up on those yourself. I'm just going to highlight a few things, like I said, that I really enjoy using. So the first one is running tolerance. Now, this is one of those situations where listening to your body is going to be more accurate or a better measurement of what you should be doing. However, we can use the watch, and therefore the Garmin Connect app, as a means to gauge things as well. Let me talk you through how this works. Running tolerance in its simplest form is something that estimates how much mileage or kilometerage your body can handle in a week. Now, this measurement is based off of recent training and will take into account how hard your runs actually are. I'm looking at it on my computer screen now. You've got an overlay on top of your screen. So as an example of how this works, this impact load or tolerance, I ran 5.53 kilometers at a fairly simple pace, nothing too crazy, but the impact load or the impact on my body was the equivalent of if I had run 7.01 kilometers. I'm not really sure where it gets that maths from or how it works that out, but think of it this way: intensity of running will have an impact on your body and recovery, and therefore what you could do the next day. So if we went for a 10 kilometer hard run, then potentially the impact of that run would be equivalent to us at a steady pace of 15 kilometers. We need to take that into account. It could be a useful metric to use. It's one that I'm kind of playing around with, but we didn't have this before on here. Now we do. So if you're a keen runner or something like that, this could be useful for you. So definitely check that bit out. Next up, something that we didn't have but we now do is called the evening report, which is something that's new to us, but think of it like the morning report, except it's summarizing the day that we've just had. It's giving us a breakdown of our activities, things like stress levels throughout the day. It will give us a sleep suggestion, how many hours we need, that kind of thing. And it will also tell us what the weather's going to be the next day, and if we've got any workouts scheduled, what those are. So a means of kind of reminder of what's coming up and remembering to plan in those workouts, because that's important. Don't forget about those. It can also be a handy way of getting at some data without having to dig into multiple menus. It's on the screen, you can just scroll through it and see what you need to see. So again, like the morning report, not something I really used. I found it a bit of a chore, waking up in the morning and pressing buttons to see things that didn't really matter too much to me. The evening report is much the same. Is it useful? Is it not? I'm uncertain at the moment, but it's there. Give it a look, see what you think of that. It might be useful, I don't know. Okay, smart alarm. This is the next one, the smart alarm. I like this one. I've been using this a lot. Imagine the scenario. You're in a nice deep sleep. You're having one of those wonderful dreams. Not those sorts of dreams, the other ones. All of a sudden your alarm goes off. Bolts you upright. What's going on? I don't know where I am, don't know what I'm doing. You feel really groggy, you're grumpy, all that kind of stuff. Well, this smart alarm will help to maybe not prevent it, but try to avoid that from happening. You set your alarm, let's just say 7 a.m. And in the 30 minutes leading up to that 7 a.m, the watch is paying attention to your sleep state. And as long as you are within that 30-minute window, you're not in deep sleep or REM sleep, it will wake you up. It will vibrate on the wrist, not send off some mega loud alarm, but vibrate on the wrist to wake you up. It picks the right time to wake you up before your 7 a.m. alarm. It wakes you up when you're not in your REM sleep or deep sleep, so therefore you feel less groggy. However, it will go off at the set point that you've told it regardless. So it's not just going to sit there and wait. You're not suddenly going to be half an hour late. It's if your alarm is at 7 a.m, 6:30 it starts monitoring. It waits for you to drop out of REM or deep sleep and it'll wake you up. But if you get to 7 a.m, it's waking you up anyway. So it's not going to let you down, or it certainly hasn't let me down. And I actually feel better for it, which is great. So smart alarm, loving that, using that one a lot. Next up, calculator app. Who doesn't love having a calculator on your watch, on your wrist? Do you remember those Casio watches when you were at primary school or elementary school or whatever it was? And you could sit there cheating in your maths test? Working out mathematics in your maths test by using your wrist, feeling a bit like James Bond. Well, now you can, and it will also give you the option to work out a tip as well as percentages and being able to split bills between people. Although to be fair, you should be able to work out how to split bills between people and percentages to work out tips. It's basic stuff. You should be able to do that in your head. But it's nice to be able to do it on your wrist as well. Okay, last thing I've been using a little bit and playing around with is the custom focus modes. Now, previous to this update, we did have sleep and activity where we could set what notifications would come through the watch at certain times of the day. So if sleeping, so at, 10 p.m, it switches on, and then 7 a.m. it switches off, so you don't get disturbed while you're sleeping. And then automatically, as soon as you start an activity, that would switch on again. But since this update, we can now set custom focus modes depending on time of day, activity, where we are, what we're doing, and that kind of thing. So again, avoiding being disturbed through your watch buzzing, notifications and that kind of stuff. Maybe you're watching a movie and you've turned your phone on to silent. Something comes through on the phone, but the watch buzzes and the beeps or something like that. Well, you can just turn on custom focus mode so that that doesn't happen. So again, useful stuff. I'm sorry, taking the jumper off. It's so warm down here in the southeast coast of England, Shire. It has been for a few days, but I put the jumper on for continuity, but I just can't do it. It's too warm. Right, where were we? Okay, in case you were wondering, the entirety of this video is being shot on the iPhone 16 Pro, built-in microphone, no color profile tweaking, no nothing. This is straight out the camera, straight in front of you. All I've done is chop a few bits together. That's it. The hashtag barebones vlogging movement. So run what you brung, use what you got. iPhone 16 Pro, sorted. All right, that's enough chat from me about software and stuff, because that can get a bit boring. We should be going out and playing with our technology. So if you're interested in competing in high rocks and wanting to know how to set your watch up to help you with that, then watch this video here. And as ever, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.